Welcome back to the channel, my spooky friends. I'm Sam, and tonight we're diving deep into the chilling depths of abandoned water parks. Imagine the skeletal husks of twisting water slides, the vacant pools filled with murky, stagnant water, and the wind whistling through the empty concession stands. There's an inherent eeriness to these forgotten places, a sense that something might be lurking just out of sight. Tonight we explore 3 terrifying encounters from those who dared to venture into these deserted water parks. They went seeking thrills but found something far more sinister. Turn off the lights, crank up the volume, and get ready to be thoroughly spooked. Our first tale takes us deep into the heart of the Mojave Desert, to a place once known as Oasis Springs. This water park was the epitome of summer fun, a sparkling oasis in the middle of a scorching wasteland. But like all good times, it eventually came to an end. The crowds dwindled, the laughter faded, and Oasis Springs was left to bake under the relentless desert sun. Now imagine yourself in the shoes of Jake, Emily, Ben and Chloe, a group of friends with a thirst for adventure and a complete disregard for local legends. They'd heard whispers of Oasis Springs, the abandoned water park, and decided to see it for themselves. Armed with flashlights and a sense of reckless abandon, they set off into the desert as the sun began to dip below the horizon. The air grew colder as they approached the park, a stark contrast to the day's scorching heat. The rusted gates of Oasis Springs creaked open as if welcoming them into its forgotten world. As they ventured deeper into the park, a sense of unease settled over the group. The silence was deafening, broken only by the sound of their own footsteps and the occasional gust of wind that seemed to whisper through the broken-down rides. They reached the base of the Serpent Spine, the park's once mighty, now decaying centerpiece waterslide. Its twisting, turning tubes loomed above them like a skeletal ribcage. It was Ben, always the daredevil, who first suggested climbing it. The others, fueled by a mixture of adrenaline and morbid curiosity, agreed. As they made their way up the rickety stairs, each step punctuated by the groan of rusted metal, Emily noticed something out of the corner of her eye. At the very top of the slide, where the platform offered a panoramic view of the park, stood a figure. It was tall and slender, almost skeletal, and seemed to shimmer in the fading light.
Guys, look! The others followed her gaze, their own breaths catching in their throats. The figure stood motionless, an eerie silhouette against the dying light, its eyes seemingly fixed on them. "Oh, hello?" Jake called out, his voice echoing through the desolate park. There was no response, only the wind whistling through the rides. The figure remained motionless, its presence both captivating and unsettling. Ben, never one to back down from a challenge, took a step forward. "It's probably just some old mannequin. Let's check it out." As they cautiously made their way up the remaining stairs, their flashlights shaking in their hands, the figure vanished. 1 minute it was there, a specter bathed in the ethereal glow of the setting sun. The next it was gone, vanished into thin air. A wave of goosebumps washed over them, and the air grew heavy, charged with an unseen energy. They reached the top of the platform, their hearts pounding in unison with the blood rushing in their ears. But there was no sign of the figure. It was as if it had never been there at all. Ben, trying to mask his own growing unease, laughed nervously. "See? Just our imaginations running wild."
Our next story takes us to the heart of a bustling city, to a water park known as Splash Kingdom, once teeming with the laughter of children and the joyous screams of thrill-seekers. Now shrouded in darkness and silence, it becomes the stage for our next terrifying tale. Meet Thomas, a stoic, no-nonsense security guard working the graveyard shift at the deserted Splash Kingdom. Armed with a flashlight, a thermos of coffee, and a healthy dose of skepticism, Thomas patrolled the deserted walkways. The only sound his heavy footsteps echoing through the eerie silence. One particularly humid night, as the city outside hummed with distant noises, Thomas began his usual rounds. The air hung heavy, thick with the promise of a summer storm. As he made his way past the wave pool, its once inviting waters now dark and stagnant, he heard something peculiar. It was a faint splashing sound, like small hands slapping against the water's surface. He stopped, his flashlight beam cutting through the darkness, scanning the pool's murky depths.
"Hello? Anyone there?" His voice, amplified in the silence, seemed to bounce off the empty water slides and closed concession stands. The splashing continued, a rhythmic, almost playful sound that sent shivers down Thomas's spine. He slowly approached the edge of the pool, his hand tightening around his flashlight. The air grew colder, sending a prickle of goosebumps across his skin. Then he saw it. A small, translucent figure, seemingly a young boy, rose from the depths of the pool. His hair was slicked back, his clothes dripping wet, and his eyes, wide and full of an unnerving sadness, stared directly at Thomas. Thomas, a man who had always scoffed at ghost stories, felt a chill run down his spine that had nothing to do with the night's humidity. The boy, his form flickering like a candle flame in the wind, reached out a hand toward Thomas, a look of desperate longing in his eyes.
"Help me, I can't find my mommy." Thomas stood frozen, torn between rational thought and the undeniable evidence before his eyes. The boy, his form growing fainter with every passing second, continued to reach out, his plea echoing through the empty water park.
"Where's your mommy?" The boy, his form now barely visible, pointed towards the Pirate's Plunge, a towering, twisting water slide that had always been a favorite among the younger visitors.
"We were on the ride. Then everything went dark, and I couldn't find her." Then, as quickly as he appeared, the ghostly boy vanished, his form dissolving into the humid night air. Thomas stood there for a long moment, the silence broken only by the distant rumble of thunder.
Our final tale takes us on a family vacation gone horribly wrong. Picture a once vibrant water park called Adventure Cove, now standing desolate and forgotten. It's here we meet the Thompson family, oblivious to the horrors that await them. John and Mary Thompson, along with their 2 children, 10-year-old Lily and 8-year-old Ethan, were on a road trip, their map filled with quirky roadside attractions and forgotten landmarks. Adventure Cove, with its faded billboards promising a whale of a time, seemed like the perfect pit stop. The sight that greeted them was far from the advertised fun. The once brightly painted structures were now faded and peeling, the water slides overgrown with weeds, and an unnerving silence hung heavy in the air. Despite the park's dilapidated state, Lily and Ethan were ecstatic, their imaginations already painting pictures of past glory. As the children explored the crumbling ticket booths and empty gift shops, John noticed an unsettling feeling creeping in. It wasn't just the state of disrepair, but an underlying coldness that seemed to emanate from the very core of the park. He tried to shake off the feeling, attributing it to the stories he had read about the park's closure. It was rumored that a tragic accident involving a family on the lazy river had led to its downfall. But as the day wore on and the shadows grew longer, the feeling of unease only intensified. A flicker of movement in the reflection of a shattered mirror, a child's laughter echoing from the top of an empty water slide, the faint scent of chlorine mingling with the musty air. John initially dismissed these occurrences as tricks of the light and his own overactive imagination. But when Lily came running back, her eyes wide with terror, claiming to have seen a group of people dressed in outdated swimsuits staring at them from the wave pool, John knew something wasn't right. He tried to rationalize Lily's experience, but Ethan soon chimed in, his small voice trembling as he described a man with a sorrowful expression watching them from the top of the Typhoon Twist, the park's once most thrilling ride, now a rusted skeleton against the setting sun. As dusk settled and the park was bathed in an eerie twilight, the ghostly apparitions grew bolder, their forms becoming clearer. John and Mary could now see them too, shadowy figures of families and children, their laughter echoing with a hollow, mournful quality. Panic set in. John gathered his family, their earlier excitement replaced with a primal fear. So there you have it, my fellow thrill-seekers. 3 chilling tales from the depths of deserted water parks, where laughter turns to screams and memories linger like ghosts in the mist. Do you believe in the paranormal? Have you ever encountered something you couldn't explain? Share your thoughts and experiences in the comments below. And if you enjoyed tonight's dive into the darkness, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more spine-tingling content and hit that bell icon so you never miss a spooky upload. Until next time, sleep tight and remember, sometimes the things that haunt us are closer than we think.